Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Thank you. Could I have the English Bhagavatam? You have the book? We are in the fifth canto. Fifth canto. Thank you. There is a beautiful glorification of the Srimad Bhagavatam from Sanatana Goswami. That because actually today we cannot recite the verse because it's in prose. Maybe we can recite this particular verse from Sanatana Goswami that is a glorification of the holy name. Madeka bandhu matsangin Madguru Mahadana Manistaraka Madbhagya Madananta Namostute. O Srimad Bhagavatam, my only friend, my companion and my teacher, O my great wealth and deliverer, O my good fortune and bliss, I offer respectful obeisances unto you. Garantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. So we are reading today from verse 34, 35, 36 and 37 we'll have a purport. So 34. So the chapter is called The Structure of the Universe. And the verse goes 34. Thereafter, actually I can try to recite the Sanskrit at least for one verse. Tata parastal loka namachol chalo loka yor antarale parita upakshiptaha. Thereafter, beyond the ocean of sweet water and fully surrounding it is a mountain named Loka, which divides the countries that are full of sunlight from those not lit by the sun. Verse 25. Beyond the ocean of sweet water is a tract of land as broad as the area between the Mount Sumeru and the boundaries of Manasotara mountain. In that tract of land, there are many living beings. Beyond it, extend the Loka mountain. Beyond it, extending to the Loka mountain is another land which is made of gold. Because its golden surface, it reflects light like the surface of a mirror, and any physical article that falls on that land can never be perceived again. All living entities, therefore, have abandoned that golden land. Verse 36. Between the lands inhabited by the living entities and those that are uninhabited, stand the great mountain which separates the two and which is therefore celebrated as Loka Loka. And the last verse, 37. By the supreme will of Krishna, the mountain known as Loka Loka has been installed as the outer border of the three worlds, Bhurloka, Bhuvaloka, and Svarloka, to control the rays of the suns throughout the universe. Let me read it again so that it's better. By the supreme will of Krishna, the mountain known as Loka Loka has been installed as the outer border of the three worlds to control the rays of the suns throughout the universe. All the luminaries from the sun up to Dhruvalokas distribute their rays throughout the three worlds, but only within the boundary formed by this mountain. My God, I'm reading not so nice today. One more time. All the luminaries from the sun up to Dhruvaloka distribute their rays throughout the three worlds, but only within the boundary formed by this mountain. Because it is extremely high, extending even higher than Dhruvaloka, it blocks the rays of the luminaries, which therefore can never extend beyond it. Purport. When we speak of Lokatraya, we refer to the three primary planetary systems, Bhu, Bhuva, Svara, into which the universe is divided. Surrounding those planetary systems are the 8 directions, namely east, west, north, south, northeast, southeast, northwest, southwest. Loka Loka mountain has been established as the outer boundary of all the lokas to distribute the rays of the sun and other luminaries equally throughout the universe. This vivid description of how the rays of the sun are distributed throughout the different planetary systems of the universe is very scientific. Shukadev Goswami described those universal affairs to Maharaj Parikshit as he had heard about them from his predecessors. He explained those facts 5,000 years ago, but the knowledge exists long before, because Shukadev Goswami received it through disciplic succession. Because this knowledge is accepted through the Vedic succession, it is perfect. The history of modern scientific knowledge, on the contrary, does not go back more than a few hundred years. Therefore, even if modern scientists do not accept the other factual presentation of Srimad Bhagavatam, how can they deny the perfect astronomical calculations that existed long before they could imagine such things? There is so much information to gather from Srimad Bhagavatam. Modern scientists, however, have no information of other planetary systems and indeed are hardly conversant with the planets on which we are now living. Om Gyanati Mirandasya Gyananjana Shalakoya Chakshurum Militam Yena Tasmei Shri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Svayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gourangi Radhe Vrindavaneshvari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Jayatam Surato Pangor Mamamanda Matergati Matsarvasva Padambujo Radha Madana Mohano Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Sati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, but my spiritual master, through the torchlight of knowledge, has opened my eyes. Therefore, I offer him my respectful obeisances. So I'd like to ask for your blessings, that I can speak something relevant today, even though we might not have understood much of what we were reading, because those are very detailed descriptions of the universe. And I thought it's actually good to have pictures today with us to try to understand a little bit how this universe is. In the beginning of the fifth canto, Maharaj Parikshit, we hear the story of Priyavrata Maharaj, we hear the story of Rishabdev, we hear the story of Bharat Maharaj. Yeah, Rishabdev is fifth canto as well. Yeah, then by Bharat Maharaj, we hear the story, and then Shukadev Goswami asked a question Maharaj Parikshit asked a question to Shukadev Goswami. He's coming back to the beginning of the canto of the story of Priyavrata Maharaj, where it was described that he was with his chariot following the sun and giving light wherever there were shadows. And that by doing that, he was actually making some tracks of land with the wheels of his chariot. So at this stage, in the beginning of this section of the Bhagavatam, Maharaj Parikshit asked, how did that happen? And what happened when Priyavrata Maharaj was making those cycles and dividing the lands? This is actually, the Vedic approach is very detailed and amazing when we come to those type of topics of cosmology. When I was young, I was extremely fascinated by looking at the stars and looking at the pictures of the Voie lactée and all those things. I felt very, very interested about that. So I have to give just a warning before we start this lecture that it's actually a very difficult things to explain, and I don't think myself is very qualified in explaining those topics. So, but by the help of the picture, I think we will be able at least to understand a little more. That's just by reading it. The fifth canto have this very challenging aspect that it will describe the universe like we never heard it before Krishna consciousness, and it's quite challenging for our mundane approach or our mundane conception. And it is said that often those who can go through the fifth canto, then they pass the test, and they have sufficient faith that the Vedic scriptures are actually giving us the truth and are going to enlighten us. And Prabhupada writes about that in the purport, where he said that actually this is a knowledge that is given through parampara and goes more than 5,000 years ago. And in this parampara are saintly persons who actually can see past, present, and future. They are actually very, very powerful personalities. So we can actually rely on their descriptions, even if it's a little bit difficult to understand and to perceive, because our senses are contaminated, so we just cannot really grasp it. This is like a descending knowledge that comes on us, and we learn to accept it the way it is with faith, and we try to understand it. Those passages of Bhagavatam are not always easy. Sometimes we feel like, okay, let me jump over it, because it's difficult to get something substantial, some application points for our life. Still, they are, and we will see some. Sometimes we have chapters also who are full of names of dynasty, and also we read and we feel, oh, what do I do with all what I read? But we do it in a mood of service. We accept Srimad Bhagavatam, like Sanatan Goswami said, as our friend, our companion, our teacher, and we go through with respect and hope for the blessings of Srimad Bhagavatam. So even Shukadev Goswami said that it's actually impossible to know this Vedic knowledge. And we have here, this is, here we see Priyavrata Maharaj when he was turning around the Mount Sumeru and making the tracks of land. And here we have Shukadev Goswami speaking. Would you like to read, Prabhuji?
My dear King, Sri Shukadev Goswami said, my dear King, there is no limit to the expansion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead's material energy. This material world is a transformation of the material qualities, three gunas. Yet, no one could possibly explain it perfectly, even in a lifetime, as long as that of Brahma. No one in the material world is perfect, and an imperfect person could not describe this material universe accurately, even after continued speculation. Bhagavatam 5:16-4.
So this is Shukadev Goswami speaking. So if Shukadev Goswami is speaking and says that it's impossible for imperfect personality to describe, so what about our attempt? This what I'm sharing with you is coming from a course from Swayam Bhagavan Keshava Maharaj that he gave on the overview of Srimad Bhagavatam. He was giving these online programs during COVID time, and being affiliated with the School of Bhakti, I guess Zurich also affiliated with, we got the material to also be teacher of Srimad Bhagavatam, and we do that with my wife. And so I took those pictures that we have to help us from Swayam Bhagavan Keshava Maharaj and the School of Bhakti. So all credits to them for this presentation. And Maharaj gave a very nice explanation, because those things are not easy to understand, and often they might sound to be contradictory. And Maharaj gave an interesting example. He said, in connection to our limitation to understand, he said, who comes first, the father or the son? And then one could say, okay, the father comes before the son. That makes quite some sense. First you need the father and then the son can come. But someone can say, no, the son comes first before the father, because as long as the son is not born, the father cannot be called a father. So first the son is come, and then the man becomes a father, and then the father comes. And some might say, no, the father and the son, they appear at the same time. So it might sound, it's actually not a contradiction, but it's a paradox. It's a different perspective, a different way to understand that. Often in those thematic, and especially in descriptions of the universe or something like that, sometimes we but here he said that, and here he said that. So according to the perspective we notice, they are not contradictory, but they are like paradox. An example is, for example, if you see on this picture, the man is shaking the hand of the lady. And the question could be, who is closest to this lady? Is her son and her husband on the right, on her right, or is the man that to whom she shakes the hand? So in one sense we can say, okay, her family members are closer to her than the men who shake the hand. But emotionally, she is fully connected to the man to whom she shakes the hand. She is not so much conscious at that time of her family members. So according to the perspective, things cannot be can be paradoxical but not contradictions. So in the structure of the universe that we have, we will see the horizontal perspective And this is the Bhumandala disc with the 7 dvipas and 9 varshas of Jambudvip. That's, I guess, you went through since a while in Srimad Bhagavatam. Those are chapters 16 to 20. And then there is, coming further, will be 21 to 26, and that will be the vertical understanding with the upper planetary system, and that we had in the purport, even in the verse, Svargaloka, Burloka, Burvaloka, and Buloka, and then the lower planets and the different hells. And then in chapter 21 to 23, we see the movements of the planet, the sun, the moon, and like this. It's sometimes a little bit intertwined. It's sometimes you have some of the movement. For example, now even in the verse, we are in the chapter 20, but we hear about the movement of the sun and how the sun cannot go behind some of this Loka mountain and like this. So it's a little bit interconnected, but that's roughly how it is described. So we will see first, today we just see what concerns us. We see the horizontal perspective, we see on the picture the universe, and you see all those discs, and this is the Bhumandala. This is where Priyavrata was passing with his chariot, and he was making those different tracts of land. And then under we see the Garbhodaka ocean. So this Bhumandala, it's a disk that covers the entire universe, material universe, and the diameter is 6 billion kilometers, like super huge. And then we will inside of. Can you see on the screen where I moved the? No, you cannot see. Okay. I thought when I move my laser pointer, you can see. Okay. So Bhumandala and the 7 islands is the this big thing. And then we have Jambudvip with 9 Varsha. This will be an area that is just here in the center. And then we will have Bharatvarsha. This is one small place into Jambudvipa. Now, if we look from up, what we were looking was from the side. If we look from up, it looks like this. And here we will connect with what we were hearing on the verse today. So this is actually a place that is not habitated. No one is living there. And here is the Loka mountain that we hear in most of the verse. And here is the golden land that we also had in the verse, that is like absorbing everything. Every material object that falls on the golden land disappear, cannot be perceived anymore. Therefore, no one lives there. Everyone should just disappear into the golden ring. One could say, oh, golden land, I want to go there, but better not, otherwise you might just disappear and goodbye. Okay, and then we have, here is the sweet water, and then it goes different layer. We will not go too much in detail, but I would just like to read again the first verse that we had that speaks about that. The verse 34 was, thereafter beyond the ocean of sweet water and fully surrounding it is a mountain named Loka, which divides the countries that are full of sunlight from those not lit by the sun. This we will see a little bit later. A little bit later we will connect with the sun touching. And then the verse 35 was saying, beyond the ocean of sweet water is a tract of land as broad as the area between the middle of Mount Sumeru and the boundary of Manotsara mountain. So here you can see that here is actually the Manotsara mountain. And all what is from the golden land all this is inhabited, and this not. And here we have 4 in this Manotsara mountain. There is the abode of Indra. Here there is the abode of Yamaraj, the abode of Varuna, and the abode of the moon. Here on the fourth place. The sun is there also, but where exactly, I'm not sure. Because we were seeing from profile, now we will see from up, now we are seeing from up, and there will be another picture on profile where you see the different planetary system over it, and there we will see where the sun is situated. It's a little bit technical, but I think it's good to make the attempt to understand just as a service for Srimad Bhagavatam. So the verse 35 was saying, beyond the ocean of sweet water is a tract of land as broad as the area between the middle of Mount Sumeru, which is totally the center of this big disk, and the boundary of Manotsara mountain. In the tract of land, there are many living beings. Beyond it, extending to Lokaloka mountain, is another land which is made of gold. Because of its golden surface, it reflects light like the surface of a mirror. And any physical article that falls on that land can never be perceived again. All living entities, therefore, have abandoned that golden land. And then there was the verse 36. Between the land inhabited by living entities and those that are uninhabited stand the great mountain which separates the two and which is therefore celebrated as Lokaloka mountain. We'll go back to that particular verse. We'll just zoom in to this area. We'll now go and see Jambudvip. So this is Bhumandala, and now we will go and see Jambudvip. So this is Jambudvip, this is the Sumeru mountain. The river Ganga is flowing there and then going into all the different parts. And there are divisions. And we can see even a little bit more. Okay, here we see the different divisions, different vashas or tracts of land. Kuru Vasha, Hiranmaya Vashas. And here down is Bharadvasha. This is the place where we are actually living. And here is Himalaya mountains. And in previous chapters, we heard of different deities of the Lord living in different of those Vashas. Like, for example, here was Hiranmaya Vashas, and Kurma is directing this place. And Ariyama was the person offering prayers. And we had actually a lot of prayers to those different incarnations of the Lord. So there are actually 9 sections, 9 tracts of land, and they are all heavenly tracts of land. Only the Bharadvasha is not a heavenly tract of land, but it's a place where there is dualities, where there is happiness, distress, and where it's actually the place where we can learn. And there was a verse also in previous chapters where it is mentioned that actually Bharadvashas is the best place because there we can really progress very rapidly into for self-realization. Now this one we see from the side, and this is where the sun and the shadow comes up. Here we see the different lokas. This is Burloka, and this is the Bhumandala disk. So it's not totally flat, but it's coming slowly up. And here are the Lokaloka mountains range, which are making actually a cycle all around those disks. And here we can see that the sun is there, and the sun is actually not going beyond those 2 Loka mountains. And here we have the Burloka, the place where we live, is on this level. And here Bhuvarloka, it's going upward. And then we have the last one is actually Sarvaloka. heavenly planets. And then we have upper planetary system above, and we have lower planetary system. They come there in the depth under Earth. We say sometimes subterranean planetary system are actually those one. So this is just helping us a little bit to understand. Here we see also Svarloka. This is the heavenly planets. And Bhuvarloka is actually the place where Rakshasas and ghosts are staying in. And then we have Burloka, the planet Earth, the planet where we are living. So it's quite technical. I still feel happy that we looked at it and tried to understand a little bit how everything is positioned. And there, I would like to bring one main teaching I think that we can learn from those information is how vast and how big those universes are. And this brings very naturally how small we actually are. And this is supposed to bring us some feelings of humility. There was once this, Srila Prabhupada was teaching Tamal Krishna Maharaj, and he was saying out of millions of universe there is planetary system, and there is planet Earth, and there is Los Angeles, and in Los Angeles there is one street, and in that street there is Tamal Krishna Maharaj, who thinks he is very great and very important. And I think that's a big pitfall in our spiritual life, that we think actually we are important. And often what happens is, as more as we progress, as more we think we are important. And there is actually tricky. I had recently a darshan with my spiritual master, who was telling me, Gorari, you are so proud, and was breaking down this pride in a good substantial way. And I did not know. I thought I'm very humble, but it's therefore actually we need to have senior devotees around and spiritual master who can actually reflect where we actually stand by. And there were some prayers before when there were description of those varshas with incarnation of the Lord and the inhabitant praying to the incarnations. And one did not keep exactly where, but it was the inhabitants who were speaking to this avatar, and was saying that even great personalities, even great saints, they get under the control of your illusory energy. Therefore, my Lord, you are the supreme, you are all-powerful, and we offer our obeisances to you. And in one of his lectures, Gauranga Darshan, who also studied Bhagavatam very carefully, was giving a very interesting analogy. He was giving the analogy of climbing a ladder. And he was saying, as high you go on the ladder, as more careful you have to be. Because if you fall, it will be much more risky. Like if you climb just 1 or 2 steps, if you fall, no problem. But when you are on the 20th step of the ladder, if you fall, it can be dangerous. So Gauranga Darshan was giving this analogy by saying, as more as we progress in spiritual life, as more as actually we have to become careful, as more we have to become vigilant in our practice of Krishna consciousness, as more we have to be careful to not become negligent, or there is another word for that, actually mentioned. Complacent, exactly. That we become complacent, or that even we become overconfident that we can make it. Yeah, I know how to do it. I can do it on my own. And I think that's very much relevant on our spiritual life. My spiritual master was saying it's like as high a tree grow, as more the tree has to put deep roots. If the tree grow high but don't put the root in the depth, then when the wind will come, the tree will be blown away. So I thought to have for the end of this lecture a little bit some reflection on this mood of humility, of how careful we should be, especially when we grow older, that maybe we have some position, or we are maybe leading kirtans, or we are placed in leading position, how it's actually we have to be very careful to not get caught by pride and thinking that we are actually doing super nice, that we are the great personalities. And this is something we have to cultivate, this mood of humility. After this darshan with Maharaj, I understood, okay, now let's get the books out and let's see what Prabhupada speaks about humility and how I will be able to develop more this mood of humility. And I was remembering in one lecture, His Holiness Bhaktivigyan Maharaj was giving he was saying that humility have synonyms, and he was saying one synonym of humility is a prayerful attitude, to be prayerful. This is like to be humble, because you cannot really pray if you don't have some amount of humility. When we are proud, it's very difficult to pray. But only when we understand our position and we understand that we need help, this is position of humility and the position where we can pray. And another synonym he was saying is to be grateful, gratitude. Gratitude as a synonym of humility. And this is also very interesting, because when we think we deserve things in our life, this is like a symptom of pride. We think we deserve things, and there we are actually paving our path for disappointment, because the world will very rarely function in the way to just fulfill our expectations. So when we think we deserve things, we are actually in a position where pride is there and where we are actually going to be frustrated. But in the other side, when we don't expect anything, this is position of humility. We are actually grateful for all what is actually around us and all what is given to us. So I thought this is something quite practical we can observe in our life. How much do we expect from the world, from the people around us, showing that we have some pride and we think we deserve things, and how much actually we don't think we deserve much. We are positioned in the position of humility and we are grateful for all what is actually given to us. My spiritual master was mentioning recently, that was in a lecture, but I think he was targeting on me as he was speaking his lecture. He said that the most subtle manifestation of pride is the attachment to our own opinion, to be not flexible for other opinions, but just thinking my opinion is the right one. He was saying this is the subtle manifestation of pride. And we can see sometimes when there are discussions like this, we can assess ourselves, we can assess how humble we are in the means of how humble how flexible we are to hear other opinion. How able are we to even look at the opinion of others and try to see through their own perspective and not just be attached and rigid and this is my opinion. This is like very much connected with this pride. Also, another way when we can see this pride happening is when we think we know. I mean, it's very connected to what I was just saying now. We had many years ago, we had a Bhakta in Golokadam, and he was Bhakta, but he was already in touch since quite some years with Krishna consciousness, and then we were suggesting him to make a Bhakta course. And he was saying, I know already all the philosophy, I know all this is not so relevant. And we are with my wife also teaching Bhakta course, and we noticed that this knowledge is a lot of depth. There are many things you know, but many things you forget that you need to keep in touch so that you don't forget. And there is so many different perspectives, so many different levels in the Vedic scriptures that even Bhakta course can be actually a very exciting journey, even for someone who is many, many years in Krishna consciousness. So I was contemplating this mood. I know the scriptures, I know Bhagavad Gita, I know this, I know that. It's actually also a manifestation of pride, because we actually don't know. we actually all the time, even if we know something, most of the time we forget. So we have to keep actually very seriously connected to the scriptures. And we can see that Krishna do not like when devotees are proud. And very often he will break down, he will make arrangements for that pride to be broke down. We see an example of Daksha, who was very proud of his being the ruler, and when Lord Shiva, when he came and Lord Shiva did not offer respect to him, immediately the pride came like a flash. He just could not think and was just completely defeated and just blew it up in front of everyone. We hear of Indra, who became so proud. Krishna took away my yagyas, my offerings for the Indra Puja, and became very, very, started very aggressive and started to really attack the Brijbasis. So this is actually can be a big enemy, a big anatta inside of our heart that can push us to do bigger parades. Actually, often when pride is there, that's the time when we are actually doing parades. When we are humble, we are quite protected from making parades. So I thought to use this understanding of the greatness of the universe and our small position to bridge there, to have something substantial we can contemplate and meditate. And I was speaking a little bit of how pride manifests, and that's I just spoke few words. One could give seminars on that, but that we are a little bit aware of how detrimental can this pride be, and that we are able to observe when they manifest and deal with that, because we have to do both in Krishna consciousness. We have to water the plant, and we have to uproot the weeds. Both needs to be done. So we nourish ourselves with nectar, Krishna consciousness, we also with the chanting of the holy name, kirtan, we give water, but we have to be introspective in our life to check where the weeds are and to remove those weeds. It's both are necessary, and we have to see that we do a good mixture of both. If we are just in the weeding, I don't know if some of you were sometimes doing weeding of a garden, it's after a few hours you really get bored to weed. And if you just try to catch the nectar, but you are not looking at those anatta and not praying for the removal, then you are also, your progress will be checked. So we need to have like a good mixture of the weeding and the nourishing of the Bhaktilata. So that was a simple lecture. We are thankful that we got those pictures to try to understand a little bit more, and we are very grateful to have here even the Lord of all those universes here, Jagannath. He is the Lord of the universe after all, I thought this morning. So I don't know if you have any questions, any comments. I'm not sure I will be able to answer many questions on technicalities of the universe, but I'm ready to take any questions. Prabhuji.
Just reminded of a question I have. When you talk about these qualities that, good qualities bring us up in the universe and bad qualities push us down. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, greed, lust, and anger are doors to hell. But he doesn't mention pride. sometimes. I think envy and pride is not including that. So I always been wondering why.
I think those anger, what is envy, anger, and lust, huh?
Greed, lust, and
Yeah. That might be the captains, the strongest of all anarthas, or the root of all anarthas, and then the other one are soldiers, or how you say, prime ministers, and the entourage of the three mains. I think also in different scriptures, maybe in Bhagavatam, we might find also some slightly different perspective on different anarthas. Also in Prabhupada's purport, we might, if one research, one can get also different perspective on that. But that will be my using a little bit of my logical, that those three in Bhagavad Gita are like the main one. And then others are. But I don't know, Vajanti, will you have another?
I think I was also thinking something similar. Also last, it's like, I want to enjoy, and the control, and then from there comes, it's like, it seems to me that this one, the three main, and the other one, consequences. When you enter in this mentality, then you get also with the others. Don't you think?
Yeah, you maybe also have an answer.
I really don't know. I guess we have to go further into Prabhupada's books.
Yeah. Thank you. Mataji? Yes.
Thank you very much for the lecture. Do you have any suggestion when we feel ourselves like when pride comes, how can we overcome it? Because sometimes it's so hard, as you say, like we are attached to our like thinking that this my way is the right thing. How can we overcome that?
I think we cannot. I think it's only by the mercy of the Lord. I mean, we can do something. We can do something, but I think the mercy of the Lord is the most powerful way to remove. Therefore, Bhaktivinoda Thakur mentioned that all the demons that comes in Vrindavan Lila, they represent some type of anartha, and we have no power to remove them. That's only Krishna can remove them, and Krishna will remove them when we keep Krishna in our consciousness. When we chant the holy name, when we think of the Lord, when we read his pastimes, when we keep Krishna in the consciousness, this will purify ourselves and remove those anarthas. But we also have to read, and there it's actually good to have some level of introspection. Sometimes when pride comes, it's difficult to see it. But sometimes if you reflect after, how was the meeting, or how did I behave? But usually when pride comes, you don't feel happy. You feel tense. You feel you try to defend your opinion and show that you are right. You are in, and if you are introspective, you notice, why I'm not so happy now. And then you might retrace. Oh yeah, that was there in this meeting made me not happy. And then you can retrace, and then you can come to Jagannath and say, oh, I think I again blew it. I was too attached. Let me maybe try to reconsider others' opinion and maybe rediscuss with the person, or try to correct the thing. But often when it comes, it's difficult to see. But when you can retrospect and observe and then pray, then you can. And I was really far away to think I'm proud. When my Guru Maharaj was telling it, then I could see. I could see in so many situations I am, and that gave me. I thought, okay, I will learn more. Maybe every day I read a quote on humility and try to see through that during the day. So we can sometimes take. Okay, this week is my humility week. This week I will work on that, and I will introspect, and I will read on that, and I will pray for that, and like this one can target different obstacles that we have and work actively on that. remembering that ultimately is the Lord, that we don't have really the strength and ability to do it. But the Lord, He's giving us remembrance, forgetfulness. He's giving us knowledge whenever He wants. So at the moment when pride might manifest, He might just at that time give us the knowledge of understanding, okay, this is my pride, I leave it aside, I decide the path of humility. So ultimately it's really much in His hands, in their hands, I could say. Yeah?
I actually have some more questions
Okay.
regarding because I didn't really understand how were the other planetary systems illuminated by the sun. Was it through the mountains that they reflected, or
Mm-hmm.
what did it mean?
Yeah, I think, let me get back to the pictures. If we were looking at this one, so here we have the Loka mountain, which is actually blocking the sun. That was mentioning that is blocking the sun. And there are tracts of land that are not livable. This is like Aloka Vasha, but it's not livable. There is no living entities there. And then here there are all the planets that are inhabited, where the sun is shining. So the sun is rotating around the Mount Sumeru, as far as I understand. But
The sun is written in the
yeah.
room
Yeah.
1 to this. There is the
Here,
sun.
here is the sun. So most probably is rotating into this trajectory or this cycle, but do not extend beyond the Loka mountain. And if we look at here. If we look at this one, we can see here is the sun, and here are the very high Loka mountain. So like the sun do not go behind those. It's rotating in this Bhumandala cycle, but do not extend behind the Loka mountains. And yeah, here they were the Bhuloka, the planet Bhuloka, where we stand, the Bhuvaloka, where the ghosts and Rakshasas are, and the heavenly planets are still inside of the Loka mountain. They are still on the height of the Loka mountains. And then higher, then there is no Loka mountain. Then it's just like totally the upper planetary systems.
Can you go back to the other?
Uh-huh.
Where is the Loka mountain?
This is the range, Loka mountain. This Mount Loka.
And the sun can illuminate the higher planets because they were so higher up.
As far as I know, in the upper planetary systems, I mean, for sure, in the spiritual sky, there is no need of luminaries. But I'm not sure about the upper planetary system, if they still get sun or if they are self-effulgent. This I don't know.
In the last that you had,
Uh-huh.
if you make it smaller there, you cannot see. No, the last other one.
Which one?
More. Another one. No.
Okay, so it was totally in the other direction. Here. This one?
Yeah, you cannot make it, you can see the full...
Yeah, I will need to research into that's not in that particular PowerPoint, that's in another one.
because in this one sometimes...
Yeah. But they are actually devotees who went deep into understanding those things, and maybe if you have some interest or like this, you might like to.
There are books also.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
From Sataputa.
Prabhuji.
I don't know if the argument is valid, but the higher you go, the more subtle become the
Mm-hmm.
elements,
Mm-hmm.
and heat and light is maybe not so much needed.
Mm-hmm.
It's more made from ether, air, mind, intelligence, and ego.
Mm-hmm.
The upper planetary system are more in those
Mm-hmm.
material elements. I don't know.
Yeah.
So they don't need so much sunlight.
So the sunlight is, and Prabhupada says it's like a flower. In the top planetary system, the 8 material elements are there. In the ego, intelligence, mind, ether, and all that, even earth is there. But it's not. It's there, but it's not like a flower. It's not manifested. So the lower you go, the more earth, water, fire is needed. Right? The plants are made of different ingredients, but the higher you go, these growth elements are possibly less manifest, and therefore sunlight is there, but in a subtle form. I don't know, or is there in intelligence, in mind, but the planets are made on a different level of material energy that's almost inconceivable for us. Something like that.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, thank you. Yes?
Krishna, I have a question also about the sun, and I read in Srimad Bhagavatam that Maharaj Priyavata, he wanted to divide this universe into 7 dvipas because he was not satisfied how sun illuminates in different areas, and he made the same like orbit of the sun, and we know that here is different circles, but my question is sun going only in one orbit, like on the same distance, or sun is making like a spiral, or how the sun
As far as I understand, it's keeping the same orbit, but there I would not. I don't know. I don't know really. Yeah, that we need someone more into the topic. Yeah. Thank you. But the sun and the moon, those are the 2 devatas that you can see. I mean, devatas, not directly, but all other devatas we cannot really see. But the sun and the moon we can see, and it's nice in Indian tradition. We always offer respect to the sun whenever we see the sun and the moon, and so it's nice to see. I started. I mean, I went through I am in astrological difficulties where the sun is very aloof and else might be quite challenging. So I was suggested to don't miss to greet the sun and ask him for a little healthy strength.
And also a question, we read yesterday about that on different dvipas, inhabitants, they worship different demigods, and on Jambudvipa, it's place where planet Earth is here, and this mountain Meru, and on Earth we can worship to the Supreme Lord directly, and on other dvipas they worship to demigods. And I want to ask why do they worship to demigod and cannot worship to Krishna directly on these other dvipas?
I mean, are you sure about demigods? Because in this one we see all the different vashas. You mean dvipas, not vashas. Okay. Yeah, and we were seeing in the Mount Mandara, Sutama, there were Indra's planet and abode and Varuna and the moon and like this. So the question is, why do they worship demigods and not the Supreme Lord? Huh?
Maybe because they want to enjoy. So they get
the Krishna said in Bhagavad Gita, if you worship the demigods, you go to the place of the demigods, and might be most probably in search of heavenly pleasures.
And it's like in structure of universe, it's level of earthly planet, but it's like heaven.
Yeah. It's exactly. Even those Vashas here, it is said like 8 of them are heavenly, and they are on the disc of Buloka, Bhumandala, and so you have heavenly planets up higher when you go on the vertical direction, and even on the horizontal direction you have also some heavenly place. But this should also help us to, we let's not lose ourselves in all those tracts of land and all those things we got by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, the direct way to directly the highest spiritual sky, and this is our chance. This is what we should focus on. It's good to know that, and we give respect to Srimad Bhagavatam and to learn and try to understand a little bit, but we should be careful to not get sidetracked. Therefore, Prabhupada always in his purport is just like keeping us, like even in the purport here, he's just bringing us this knowledge is very old, it's parampara, there you can never trust. Scientific are speculating on that, don't believe them. Still, it keeps us a track, keep your develop or make your faith strong in the Vedic scriptures, because there is the real way to spiritual life.
Last one.
Okay.
I have a question. I heard also about that like demigods, they are dreaming to take birth on the earth because it's possible to make a direct and quick progress in spiritual life. And my question is that how do they dream about it? Because when you are on heavenly planet, then it's fine for you here, and you enjoy, and you don't need anything else. And why do they think or need something like? Why do they want this spiritual progress if they have their enjoyment?
I mean, what could be good is to see if that statement is something we say, or if it's like scriptures. If it's scriptures, you.
Yeah, it was somewhere in scripture, but I can make research.
Okay. So I mean, they dream of coming on Mother Earth so that they can go for self-realization. The understanding could be also they do that in dream, but when they wake up and they see all the all the enjoyment, they forget again, and so maybe in dream they understand. I mean, we can see like this, they dream too, but it is said that the enjoyments are so high, and so that it's very difficult to take a spiritual life. So maybe from time to time they are reminded, and they say, I should go there. Maybe especially it is said they have a garland of flower that never get bad. It's always fresh. But when it starts to get bad, then they know, my pious activities are gone, and now so maybe at that time, let's go to Earth so that I don't have to come back again. And some thoughts on that. But it doesn't make much sense that they want to go there, but they still stay there where they are in the... Okay. So I thank you. Let's have a wonderful day in Krishna consciousness. Let us remember we are not the controllers. Nothing is really in our hands. Let us take position of humility, where we can depend on the Lord, where we can pray to the Lord for support in any step of today. And thank you for your attention. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Galantarat Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. service in the lecture. So on this one, this is Bhumangala, Bhuloka, and here we have Atala, Itala, Sutala, which are the subterranean hellish planets. And then actually here, I try to report on this is another Shesha, but here we see that from the top we have Satyaloka, that those are the purple planets. Here are the heavenly planets with Savaloka and Bhuloka.
Then they become aware.
Here we have Bhuloka, the purple planet. And then under we have the lower planet, Itala, Sutala, Matala, Sitala, Atala, Pratiloka, and hellish planet Varaka.
And this is outside. And this the ocean that was outside the.
This we can actually see it on this one.
I mean, now it makes sense why they are not. They have no sunlight, right? They are completely dark. So they are inside.
There must be something else. So I don't know. For them it seems because they are conscious that the demigods are conscious that of Krishna. It's not that they are also devotees. Yes. But they are mixed devotees, that they have other desires also. But at some point they become aware of actually not hearing. So they might be also different perspective. Maybe yes, one is because I don't want to die. But they might be some
I mean, here we can see this is one universe, and here are those levels with Atalaloka at the end, Bhuloka disk, and then the heavenly planets and higher planets. And that's one universe with the foreseeable intelligence and all the different layers around. Yeah. I mean, I found it in this presentation, but I think it can be found online, or I can share with you. And here you have like the Vaikuntha Loka, all the that's the spiritual world. And then at the end, there is the Kailash, Mayoti, and then we got the Kana Ocean. And then under the Kana Ocean, there are universes.
From the lotus. Okay. It's so much easier to say with images because when you try to use everything, it's so complicated. Thank you so much.
Welcome. If you are interested, I can share with you. You just need to give maybe your WhatsApp or your email.
Yeah.
я вам даю. А
А,
воно рядышком. Где там люди, рядышком.
мне надо дать там свет и...
Не, я фото пишу.
Да, ну, в общем, я даже плюс.
Ну, все фильмы там начинали, что-то, что я тебе же похоже все. Хорошо. Слушай, я скорее не засмотрю так. А сколько тогда свет будет? Километров 40 туда.
600 туда обратно получается.
600.
Ну, мы покупали в ноябре.
Это у тебя раньше.
Ну да, раньше.
Если дело, может быть и 800, да?
Ну, 600 это такое самое, как бы, минимально нормально. Ну, может быть, там и бесконечно.
Ну, вообще, я понимаю.
Нам так, как это, вечно все расширяющийся Господь.
Я понимаю, ну, очень хорошо. 600. Бо я там что-то там намечаюсь, что в общем, поехать, ну, конечно, надо подумать, як воно мене служиться. Получше там. Посмотрим.
Пусть получится у вас.
А ты там на сколько там, на месяцок, на 2,
На 3 недели.
на 3 недели. И ты уезжаешь когда?
На следующей неделе в среду.
Ну, это число яке?
12-го лечу.
А 12-го?
До 4 марта.
Це сейчас февраль?
Да.
И ты до 4 марта? А. Ясно. Ну, жаль, хорошо.
Так что это пишите мне там.
Угу.